I want to welcome Tawana Forte to First Editing, and just wanted to share with all of our listeners out there how it is to become published and what that journey is like and what it's like for all of our successful authors like Tawana. And so we've got an interview today, and if you just join us in, first off, thank you for joining us, Tawana. It's great to have you here.
It's my pleasure.
It's very exciting here, and congratulations on your book and your publication. I just want to start out by asking you to describe yourself as a writer. What are your interests? What groups do you participate in? What are your abilities? And be more honest. What are some of the problems you encounter as a writer, and where do you meet other authors to solve those?
Okay. For starters, I'm a Christian writer. I look at myself as more of a therapeutic writer. My writing tends to help me with issues I may going through in life. So when a person reads my writing, it becomes therapeutic for them also. So yeah, I'm all Christian-based writing with scriptures attached to it. So a person has something to meditate on after they read things that I've written, which is all my personal experiences. I tend to connect myself with other Christian writers, people within my church, just with a Christian background, which helps strengthen me as a Christian writer. I also tend to go to a lot of social media networks to talk to other writers. I always think if you're with like-minded people, it helps to strengthen not just you, but the other person.
Right.
And I tend to live faithfully by Proverbs 27:17. So very Christian right here, excuse me. But, where it talks about iron sharpening iron. And people should sharpen people also. So if you connect yourself with like-minded people, you're sharpening each other.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's great.
Yeah, but I honestly, I haven't ran into any type of issues. Things just tend to flow. Luckily.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Inspired, perhaps. So, why was it so important to publish your book? What was your motivation and your ultimate goal or your end result? What was driving you?
People tend to laugh when I tell them this, but I never had a desire to write. I used to write poetry. Believe it, I used to write poetry as a teenager, but it was my personal diary. As far as publishing, that was never my desire. That came from a higher calling. Once I connected to my spiritual side, probably 5-6 years ago, I was moved to write. Something told me I had to share what I was holding inside of me with others to help them with things they may be going through in life. So I was following in higher order when I went down the road of publishing. I hope that makes sense to you. If not,
it's great. It's great. Everybody's moved by different things in the world, and
just being obedient.
We just have to be
and
honest.
Doing what I was put on this earth to do, which was to write.
Where do you find help or information that you need to become a published author? What kinds of groups or tools or people do you depend on? Who do you depend upon to get the help that you need?
To be a writer, myself, don't want to sound, big-headed, but I rely on myself because who else can you rely on when you're talking about your own personal experience? So I rely on myself. I rely on the Bible a lot. And as I said before, just connecting with other Christian writers. I have a few of them within my church, so we kind of built a little group where, we would just pass ideas along. If I had any questions, I would go to them because one
Mhm.
happened to be a publisher. So it's like, I need help. I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm doing. And I was making it bigger than what
Mhm.
it actually was, because it's not difficult. I'm like, if I can do it, anybody could do it. So it's not difficult, but people tend to get scared when they hear published author. It's like, oh, I need lawyers and I need this and I need that. But it's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be.
No.
If you connect
No.
yourself, I said connecting yourself with like-minded people and just going with the flow.
Yeah. That's great. It's good to hear that you feel that fear is what holds back so many people.
It
Um,
is. It is. It is. You don't have to be an excellent writer. That's why we have editors.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's true. It's very true. And speaking of that, why did you choose professional editing services? How did that fit into your publishing success?
Oh my gosh. It was wonderful. I'm an accountant during the day. I work with
Okay.
numbers.
All
So
right.
writing was at my forte, and working with the grammar. Yes, I can write, but a lot of times if you want your work to be a success, you need a professional,
Mm.
someone in that field to assist you, because they may have suggestions that you may have never thought about. And it's only going to help the success of your book. And I'm just really blessed that I had the editor that I had. I don't know if I could say her name,
Sure, you
but
can.
Leanne.
Absolutely.
Oh
She,
my God, she was a true blessing to me, because it helps when a person understands what
mm,
you're writing, they can
mhm,
relate. So
mhm.
I really built that connection with Leanne. So when it came time to do my second book, I said, I need Leanne. Please give me Leanne. And it's like, she gave me ideas that I never thought about, but not changing me.
Right.
So it was really good working with her. And I plan on working with her again with my next book.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. We
yeah.
find that people form really good bonds between the editors and themselves, and it's just important to find the person you trust, and also I think it's encouraging because then you do talk about the next book, and
Yes,
that's really
yes,
exciting. So,
yes, yes.
that's great. What were your biggest roadblocks? Did you have any in the writing or becoming a published author? I mean, you mentioned fear. What held you back?
Myself. Plain and simple, myself. Um, yes, fear played a huge factor, because like I said, I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
So how can I do this? So because I kept putting inside myself, I can't do this. You
Mhm.
know, that's not what I'm an accountant. I can't put out a book. So I was holding myself back. I kept pulling back, like, no, I can't do this. So yes, I was my roadblock.
You were your roadblock.
I was my
That
own
happens.
roadblock. I just couldn't visualize myself as a professional writer, a published author. And still find that, it's like, I'm really an author. Sometimes I have to remind myself, yes, you are an author.
Yeah, you
We have to
are.
we have to
Own it.
cut that out. We can't be a roadblock to ourselves.
So, what steps did you take to achieve your success, to get over that fear? How did you work through that?
I just had to believe in myself, and just and have fun with it. I couldn't stress over it, just, nor force myself like, okay, I have to do this. It's just when I was moved to write, I would just write.
Mm.
and not really think about what I'm doing, just write.
Right.
So that's what kind of got me through it, just enjoying it and not looking at it as I'm about to put a book out. Just forget about the end result and just enjoy what you're doing and
Mhm.
remind yourself you can do this. There's nothing you can't do.
That's right.
So
That's right.
just constantly reminding yourself this is something you can do. If you start it, to finish it.
Yeah. That's a big step. We learn that when we're small, and we have to hold on to that when we get older. So,
Exactly.
what costs did you incur along the way? And how can other authors avoid those, any unnecessary? I mean, there are certain expenses that you have, and then if
Yeah.
there's anything else that maybe you could help avoid any unnecessary costs. Can you share that with us?
Yes. Well, I went through self-publishing, which I love it because you
Mhm.
can kind of pick and choose what you want to do, and it's not as expensive as going on the outside. But the first time around, I purchased this and I purchased that. I didn't really know. I didn't do all the research I needed to do.
Mhm.
So I just stuck everything in my in my carriage, and I paid over $1,000 for the publishing of my book. And some people could say that's not a lot of money, but there was things that just weren't necessary. So I would advise people to just really do your research.
Right.
Unlike me, just do your research to find out, is this really necessary? Do I
Mhm.
really need this to get my book published? And,
Right.
after the second book, I was like, okay, I saved myself about $600 or more because
Yeah.
I eliminated things that I didn't really need, Oh, I want the best book cover, which we all want. I mean, that's one thing that sells. People look at the cover too. And I want this and I want that. And before I knew it, for my book cover, it was like over $600. But if you do
Yeah.
your research, you can, have someone create something for you.
Mm.
You can go to different websites and you can purchase rights to certain um, you know, pictures, where
Mhm.
they give you the rights to use it as a book cover, and it's so cost effective. So
Right.
that was very helpful the second time around.
Yeah.
So
It
just
is a learning experience.
research, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
We all are. We all are. It takes time, and it keeps changing. I think that's an interesting thing to mention is that the publishing industry is changing daily. There's so much technology. And it
Yes,
does get more affordable and easier.
exactly. It does.
Yeah. So how did you manage your time? Because that's always a big issue for people. How do you manage your time? Did you find there were any time wasters out there? And did you find that there were certain ways to save time that maybe you can recommend to our other upcoming authors?
Um, as far as time, I would say you need to you need to kind of figure out the best time that that works for you to write, um, and kind of stick with it. It's all about disciplining yourself as a writer,
Mhm.
and just if you work best at night, make sure you're in that right atmosphere at night. Make sure you have that special place that writing just flows for you, and sticking with it. Try not to switch up. If it works, stick with it.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just disciplining yourself. And when something comes to you, make sure you jot it down. And sometimes we're not in a position where we could just write. When something comes to us, like at work,
Right.
something may come to you, but just quickly just jot it down. Or if you're driving and something comes to you, record it, and then during that special time, which is at night if it's for you, or it could be in the morning, get your notes and just discipline yourself to just write it down and, take it from there. But it's all about discipline and just trying not to interrupt the flow as best as possible.
Right. That's great. That's great. And did you find there were any time wasters that you think people should avoid? Anything like that?
Thinking too much. It was something for me. Just, I got to do this. When you're in the middle of a chapter or a poem and it's not done, and just trying to force it, and when you try to force it, your mind goes left and it goes right and it's all over the place. And before you know it, it's like you've wasted so much time because you're forcing something and it's not really ready to come out yet.
Mm-hmm.
So just...
Yeah, be gentle on yourself. That's for sure.
Exactly.
So, what frustrations did you encounter? Which things do you think you wish you just avoided, or simply just not done differently? Is there anything there?
As I said, this was a very easy process for me. And it's like I hear some nightmare stories from people with either issues. Editor doesn't understand me. This person just doesn't understand me. But both experiences were really enjoyable. I didn't really have any major frustrations except for, my emotions getting in the way. That's the only frustration, once again, going back to that fear, because that's something that I had to truly work on. Just getting over your emotions and just the financial part of writing and, paying for the editors and paying to get it out there. So those were the only frustrations I had to overcome. And the best way is just planning. This is something you you have to plan, and kind of put money aside and say, okay, this is what this is for. And it will remove a lot of frustrations if you plan.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I think it's like anything. And you're an accountant, so you're the one to tell us that, plan, plan, plan. And Lord knows I would never do my own accounting. Therefore, you go to a professional because it doesn't come out right. So that's very good to hear from one professional to the other. How did you feel at the beginning? You mentioned you had this fear and some other things. Can you tell us how you felt at the beginning and how you came and what the difference was at the end of your journey? Just so that we can kind of experience some of your emotions and see how you overcame your fear to achieve your success.
The beginning was enjoyable because I was doing something I knew how to do, and that was just right. I've been doing poetry, as I said, for not going to say my age, but over 20 years I've been writing poetry. So I was in my comfort zone.
Right.
Once I got towards the finish line, it's time to submit it to the editors. It's time to publish. I was out of my comfort zone. It was very unfamiliar to me. And sometimes when you're not used to something, you you get a little nervous, like, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. But that's when you have to just remind yourself why you're doing this. And that's the key. You have to overcome it. You have to remind yourself, why am I writing? What purpose am I serving to write? For me, it was to encourage people, to uplift people, inspire people, just to help people, whatever they're going through in life. Their experience may be completely different than my experience based off of what I wrote, but they can relate to it. Right. So I have to remind myself, I'm here to help people. So I have to just go through that door, that unknown door, and get this out. Otherwise, I'm not going to help anybody if I stand at that door and I don't walk through it.
Right. Right. That's a big step. Opening the door and walking through.
Yeah,
It,
you have to go through that, go through the unknown to get
yeah.
to
And that's how you transform
where
from
you
being that
go.
writer to becoming that
Mhm.
published author we talk about so much.
Exactly. You have to just knock that fear right out.
That's great. So I'm going to let you wrap it up and just tell us, what are your final words of advice to other writers so they can overcome their emotional barriers and their fears so they can become the published author just like you?
I would just tell people, if you have a passion to write,
Mm-hmm.
write. Don't, don't think about what may happen. I don't really know how to write. My grammar's not good. Just write from your heart and just go with it. Remind yourself of the purpose. If you're writing because you like to make people laugh, think about that. Think about your reasoning for writing. And as long as you remind yourself of the reasoning for writing, you shouldn't have a problem, because that purpose is sitting right here. And
Right.
just run with it. And lastly, connection. Um, you need to connect yourself with like-minded people so that they can rub off on you and you can rub off on them. Just to sharpen you up and you can sharpen them up. They may have some encouraging words for you if you get to that point, oh, I don't think I can do this. And, just they can uplift you. So as long as you connect with like-minded people, it makes the whole process easier and more enjoyable. But the thing is,
Yeah.
just have fun with it. Just have fun with it.
No, it's true. It's very true. It's fantastic. Well, Tawana, I want to thank you so much. I think people will definitely think hard about their fear and trusting themselves and just enjoying it and coming out of that uncomfort zone, all those things you mentioned today. And I hope that we can, if just one other person out there is touched by what you've said, you have achieved a great goal in life with this video. I know your book is doing it,
Right.
but we hope that we can reach out and help other authors today. And thank you so much. It was great
Thank you
speaking
so
with you.
much. Thank you. I will be seeing you guys again shortly.
Yes, of course. The next book is coming. Woohoo!
It's it's coming. Okay.